Hello, and good evening, everybody. Your man Ike Jones here. Prize Picks pregame show. We are previewing Auburn and George Mason, the first college basketball game of the season for Auburn University. Come on in here, make yourself comfortable. Let's talk a little basketball. First game of the season. How y'all feeling, man? It's your man Ike Jones, man. Y'all know who it is. Well, if you don't know who it is, I don't know how you stumbled across this if you don't know who this is. But anyway, doesn't matter, man. We're in here and we're talking basketball tonight. I want to hear how you guys are feeling about the game. As always, the pregame show is presented by Prize Picks. Head over to prizepicks.com. Use code RAPPORT to be able to get 100% deposit match up to your first $100. I'm in here talking George Mason and Auburn University. We kick off the pregame Prize Picks style and take a look at what our potential stuff is out here. So let's take a look at what we've got going on from Prize Picks. Probably going to have a few guests in tonight, so you guys sit tight. Make sure you guys are commenting all of your thoughts on the game tonight. But let's take a look at what we've got on Prize Picks. So as you already know, if you're not familiar, I should say, with Prize Picks, when you come in here, you can search for the games. It's more than just college basketball. We've got NFL, and it's going to be important that you note that for tonight, because unless you are really up with all of the basketball games that are going on tonight, for instance, before the game starts, you have to put in whoever you want to do. So if you wanted to, for instance, take Jacob Toppin, and this is going to be important because you have to at least have a player from two different teams when you're doing your Prize Picks stuff. So when you put this in, George Mason actually doesn't have any props to do here within Prize Picks. So I have to take someone from another team. So I'm actually going to add a Kentucky basketball player. Jacob Toppin, I'm thinking, is going to have a good year this year. So I'm going to throw him in here. But then let's just go take a look at the game that we particularly care about. It's Auburn fans for this channel, and take a look at what we have for Auburn. But if you were to search for George Mason, there are none in here for them. So I couldn't just take Auburn players. I need to have at least one player from another team. So let's take a look at what we've got going on from the Auburn side. I see you guys in here commenting, and I appreciate that. Thank you all so much for hopping on. And I agree. Spencer says that George Mason is not a cupcake like a lot of Auburn fans think. This is going to be a tough ball game, especially when we get into the injury or report for tonight about the questionable players. It's going to be tough. So we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But let's get through this Prize Picks card and see what we want to add on here. So Wendell Green, 12.5 points, 4.5 assists. A 20.5 points, rebound, and assist situation there. This feels like this might be a good one because I think that Wendell can score double digits. The rebounds and assists are what going to concern me whether or not he gets above 21. So we'll look back at that one. 3 rebounds for KD feels like a good one. 12 points for KD feels good. Let's see, points, rebounds, and assists at 16.5. So he has to get at least 17 there. Johan Traore I feel like he might get double-digit points tonight. This feels like a good one to throw on the card there. Ooh, his rebounds look really good as well. At least 5 boards from Johan tonight, especially if Janai Broome is going to be playing limited minutes. As long as Traore stays out of foul trouble, I can see him getting this one pretty easily as well. And then his points, rebounds, assists total feels like the safest one to take, right? Because if he gets, 10, 5, and 2 here, you're really easily in that, or 8, 5, and 2, right? So I'm actually going to look at the points, rebounds, assists for him and look at that one. And then I want to do one more here. Let's look at, I'm going to say KD is going to get at least 3 boards here. So we have an opportunity for a push there, and I will actually make this a flex play. So all I need to do is get 2 of the 3 of these right. $20 gets me 45 on the win. We'll place that in here as our Prize Picks, and we'll check back on that after the game to see how that did. All right. That's it, man. That's enough of that nonsense right there. Let's talk about the game tonight. Not nonsense, because it's always fun to be able to do something a little extra with the games. But let's talk about the game tonight. How are you guys feeling about the game? And what are your thoughts on this? So Cohen jumps in here and says, is Chance, our player, out? I thought I heard some issues with the flu. Chance Westry is definitely out for this game. He's still battling back from his knee surgery. He had surgery on his knee before the season started, and he is still going to be out. So it's not really about the flu. However, there are a couple of players who are on Auburn squad that are questionable for tonight with flu-like symptoms. But let's just go down the list here. We've got Chance Westry out with his knee. Janai Broom questionable for tonight's game. So may not see Janai Broom. And if we do, he may not be at 100% questionable with a nagging ankle injury that he's got going on. But the illnesses, so the people who are dealing with flu-like symptoms are going to be people like Alan Flanagan, which is important because, if Westry's not going to be there and Flanagan, that means we don't have that off guard. That's a bigger guard to be able to go out there against a very experienced and good George Mason team that may be issues. Then you've got Jalen Williams, who is kind of your tertiary ball handler, if I could use some collegiate words out there for you. So the third guy who might be able to help bring the ball up the court, questionable as well with an illness. And then Jalen Harper, younger brother of Jared Harper, who's on the team, questionable as well with an illness. So we are going to have some issues in our backcourt. So you're going to see a lot of KD Johnson tonight. You're probably going to see a lot of the freshmen out there playing a little bit at the guard position as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that is. The UAH game played really well. So let's see. Any other thoughts out here for you guys? And let's just take a look at the comment section. While I am looking for comments, just to remind you guys, listen, we at the War Report appreciate everybody who does things for free. But we do have a membership thing that you might want to be able to get in on. We already did some football. Watch the film. I owe you guys one more football video, but we're talking about basketball tonight. I will have some basketball content as well for you all post game here, so that you guys can, well, not post game, but at some point this week I'll do some basketball stuff just so we can take a look at what we saw from this game. I'll even try to get you some highlights tonight from the game, but make sure that you're a member to be able to take advantage of that. Watch the film stuff. I may do one free video for you guys who are non-members, but members, specifically patrons, are going to get that film stuff. So the exclusive drops for you all are going to be available here. All right, let's get back into talking a little bit about this game. And joining me right now live is my man C-Dub. I told you I wouldn't be completely alone out here tonight. C-Dub is in the place, talking a little Auburn basketball versus George Mason. C-Dub, how you feeling today, man?
Feeling good, bro. Feeling good, man. Looking forward to see how we look first game of the season. Got a little bit of a look from them when they were out in Israel, but waiting to see how that translates in the new season. So,
yep. Definitely looking forward to seeing how the young players are going to step up for this team, because we're going to definitely need it. Question here from John Brandon is a good one. Who do you think steps up tonight given the 6/injury list? Any thoughts on people who are going to, I don't know if you caught me talking about it, but of course, Chance Westry, who had the surgery. Janai Broom is questionable. So the rest of these are questionable. Janai Broom with his ankle that's been nagging him, but then Alan Flanagan, Jalen Williams, and Jalen Harper all questionable with flu-like symptoms.
who steps up?
Yeah,
I think usually the usual suspects, man. I'm looking to see what KD does. Traore, I'm looking to see what he does. He actually showed me a little bit of something in Israel, so I look forward to seeing what he can do in his first college basketball game. He's going to definitely have a lot of opportunities to be productive and get some numbers. So KD, our guard play is usually what it is, but I'm looking to see what Traore does. He's replaced. He got some big shoes to fill, but I think he has a good night tonight.
Yeah, I liked what I saw from Trey Donaldson in the game that they played against UAH in their tune-up game here. So I'm expecting him to do a little bit. And then the guy who may not necessarily flash as far as statistics are going to be concerned, but I expect that if Alan Flanagan is going to be not playing up to 100%, Chris Moore is going to get a lot of minutes, and he's going to need to bring us some energy and from the wing position, specifically on the defensive end, to try to neutralize. He's got some experience. He's definitely a talented and athletic guy out there on the wing. So I'm looking for Chris Moore to step up and play a big game for us today.
Yeah, same here. And Bruce Pearl has been speaking pretty heavily about Chris Moore as well as far as being in the rotation prior to this outbreak that we've had on the team. So I expect to see some production from him as well, defensively as well as on offense.
Yeah. And then outside of that, you're going to have, like you said, the usual suspects. You're going to need good guard play. That's going to be the story, I think, for Auburn basketball this season, is how well have the guards adapted to being able to share the basketball and then being able to score effectively from the perimeter. We've got good guards who can slash and get to the hole, but they're undersized, so that when they're in there with the trees, it makes it difficult for them to finish. How well are they going to be able to score from the perimeter, I think, is going to be key for them tonight.
I agree. I agree. And just making good decisions with the ball. I think sometimes they have played reckless at times offensively, have taken shots that not really good shots, high percentage shots. We saw what's the kid escaping me? The point guard came off the bench. It's escaping me.
Wendell?
Wendell. Um, we saw at times he shifted and he was taking what the defense was giving him. He would pull up, hit a mid-range jumper, or he would set people up. When he was playing that way, I thought our offense was really flowing and moving well. So I'd just like to see those guys actually make good decisions with the ball. I think if they do that and not play so out of control and reckless at times, I think that will be a plus.
Yeah, I mean, I think just control, like veteran guards control basketball games, right? When you are a basketball team that is going to be talented and go further, you have veteran guard play that's able to keep the tempo of the game properly. One thing, when I was at the basketball media days and talked with Wendell a little bit, he talked about their ability to go to the post a little bit. Now, some of that was because of Janai Broom, but it is because of Johan and an improved game a little bit from our guy. Name is escaping me. Why is it right now?
Who you think about?
Um,
Guard?
no, playing inside.
Oh,
Jeez.
the backup center?
Yeah.
I need to pull up my.
I don't know why my brain is not working. Dylan Cardwell, thank you. I don't know.
Cardwell.
Yeah, so improved post-up game from Dylan Cardwell that he showed a little bit in Israel. So hopefully Cardwell will be able to do a little bit more of that this season. He's already done well as far as being able to be a defensive guy and on the glass, but him being able to give you some points at some point in the game as well is going to be key. With Jalen Williams potentially not being 100%, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that second unit as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think defensively will be good just because we've got the athleticism, we've got the bodies, but generating points, I feel like, is going to be the issue for us in this game, especially if we can't go to a crafty inside presence like Janai Broom.
Minutes is like foul trouble as well, because I think one of the beauty of having a lot of depth is you can protect guys who get in foul trouble. So I'm curious to see if Dylan Cardwell can stay out of foul trouble, because usually all you had to do is just switch him out with Kessler, and so you didn't lose anything. So with us being kind of down in numbers, it'd be interesting to see how they manage Cardwell in terms of fouls if he does find himself in foul trouble.
Yeah, gonna jump here again to the chat here. Spencer Benson says, one thing I wonder is how Bruce has adjusted the team from Israel. Who will be the go-to option? That's an interesting thing, because Bruce has never, Coach Pearl has never really been I've got a go-to option guy, or that doesn't really manifest itself early in the season. It just kind of, as it goes on, you kind of see the flow of the offense and you'll see who is the guy that steps up. But it's never really been that thing. I was expecting for Janai Broom to be that guy just because of the post ability, but we'll see. The offense usually flows off of motion and trying to find good shots. They've got to be committed to doing that in order to be a really good team, though, is finding the best shot that's available.
I agree. And the biggest thing I'm seeing is, when does this team peak? I think we peaked a little prematurely last year, and it just looked like we were going to roll all the way to the tournament and go deep in the tournament. But it seems like we ran out of steam. I'm looking to see how all that begins to come together as Bruce and the players start figuring things out. Do we peak at the right time?
Definitely interested to see kind of where the peak of this team is going to be. Going here to the chat once again, Tony Baker 747 says, prayers up for Mike G. We all love and miss him. Can we get a small update? Not a lot to give as far as an update on Mike G. Just guys continue to pray for him as he works his way back. And hopefully it will be sometime soon. We don't have a ton of information to be able to give you updates on it.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, we're not. This isn't like coach speak where we're like, oh, he's good. Like we actually don't know a lot right now, other than he's not in the best health, and he's working his way back into it. So we talked to him. I probably talked to Mike G a couple times a week, down from a couple of times a day before, but and it kind of bounces back and forth. But just continue to keep him in your prayers, and we will definitely let you know if anything changes drastically one way or the other. But we appreciate you guys continuing to be concerned about him, and he sees it, and he knows that you guys are concerned about him as well. So we appreciate it.
For sure.
Our guy B Will jumping in here. Colton BB jumps in and says, excited to see who's going to be the guy to get Neville Arena popping. Devin Cambridge lobs the last couple of years. Yeah, I mean, listen, we did a whole shirt called Lob City, right? Like, we love that stuff too. It's going to be interesting to see who is going to be the guy for Auburn that brings those exciting lobs. I definitely expect some of our big guys. I think Johan's going to grab a couple of them. I think that you're going to continue to see Dylan Cardwell get some of those. But yeah, Chris Moore's got some elevation, so maybe he'll be able to grab some of those. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team adjusts, because you don't really have that high flyer like you've had the last couple of years, a guy who could just really jump out of the gym. Alan Flanagan probably is the only one that I could think of that's like, man, when you see him get up, he's really up there. But he's again may not even play tonight because of the illness. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
B Will, man, you haven't had a chance to talk. You just jumped in here. How you feeling about tonight's game? I know nobody's done any extensive background on George Mason in particular, but what are the things that you're hoping to see from this young season from Auburn basketball?
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing Alan Flanagan, man. I heard that he had kind of regained his form in the offseason from what he was in the 2020-2021 season. And I was really looking forward to him being a new guy, being a new player. I think being around the team last year, him not reaching his potential, but also having some first-round picks come through here, I think the urgency was probably there for him. With the feedback he got the offseason, if he felt comfortable enough that he would get drafted, he would have gone. He didn't feel comfortable enough. So that makes it a very direct objective, which is it's time to work my stock up. And by all accounts, he had taken that challenge and he was excelling in practice and on the floor. So I wanted to see that guy. And unfortunately, we're going to have to wait. Or we may have to wait. I know he's had the flu, so even if he plays, I'm not confident he'll be 100% himself. So,
right.
A little disappointing. Also, I think Janai Broom has stayed out the ankle, right? So he's going to be out.
Yep.
So we're going to go in here possibly down 2 starters, which would leave us very undersized. By the way, I mean we'll have Cardwell out there, but Flanny's a legit 3. But we've got 2 small guards. I know we got more. We got Jalen, but I'm not sure Jalen's playing. Is Jalen playing tonight?
He's potentially sick as well. So yeah,
man.
Think we'll see some stretch tonight, right?
We're gonna have to see a lot of folks.
I'm gonna say you would assume that Akingbola, Babatunde Akingbola is going to play a little bit. So he's gonna have to get some minutes. Just unless Traore and Cardwell stay out of foul trouble and have immaculate conditioning, they're gonna and play a lot of minutes tonight. Then you're gonna see some from stretch as well. So it will be interesting to see how the big men stay out of foul trouble, because we seem to be limited there right now, as opposed to the depth that we're used to.
Right. Yeah. So that kind of dampens my excitement for this. To be honest with you, as a sports bettor, college basketball season is the most fun sport to bet. It's the most fun time to bet. It's the easiest sport to bet, because there's such a distinct advantage from a home team that is a good team. And then I started looking up Auburn. I was like, wait, who not playing? I ain't touching this. We're gonna leave this alone. We're gonna leave this alone. I don't know how good George Mason is, and that's the tough thing with basketball, man. Is you could hear, oh well, one player is gonna be out for a football team. It's like, okay, maybe he'll make some difference, but no,
unless it's the quarterback, right? Like you're not super concerned about it, or like it's they're like the majority of the offense. Like if for some reason, what's your guy's name? That's the running back for Texas A&M.
Bijan.
A-Chain. Yeah. You said
Texas A&M. I'm thinking Texas.
A-Chain.
Yeah. If Devon A-Chain wasn't playing for Texas A&M, you'd be like, oh,
right.
Like he's such a heavy portion of their offense. You're like, wait a minute, now he ain't playing. That's different. right?
And that's what's different for between basketball and football. So football, there can be one guy that important. For basketball, they could have gotten a transfer that nobody knows about from Division II, but he could be that dude. And because I have no idea who George Mason has,
bruh, I went to the Birmingham game last night because we have the
G League team.
Okay, you checked them out. Okay,
yeah. So I went to the Squadron game last night. It was a dude from Montana. I looked him up like during the game. I was like, that was playing on the other team. The dude hit like 6 threes, bro. Like he just was not missing. I was like, who is this little dude, bro? He was just corner three, came like caught one off the dribble out the top. I was like, man, what is this? Yeah. So like, you just never know. It just could be some random dude who got like Steph Curry game just come out blazing y'all all of a sudden. You like, man, come on, dog. Like he just would not miss, dog.
I never forget when Ja Morant came to Auburn, and I was just like, who is this dude, bro?
Yeah. So that's a perfect example. Ja Morant. Nobody. I mean, well, now people knew who Ja was.
People knew, but I didn't know it was like that. Like I didn't know dude could ball like that.
Yeah, he definitely gave them all they could handle in that game. So like, but that's to your point, is that they could have some kind of, now they have a lot of returning guys. So the George Mason team from last year is going to be a lot of the guys, particularly in their starting rotation, that are going to be the guys from last year. But they do have a ton of experience. So it's never going to be a situation where you're just guaranteeing yourself a victory against any team that has that much experience when you have this many people that are going to be out of the game. Right. So it's definitely going to be something to look at. So like, I'm going to see if I can pull up George Mason's roster here, because I want to take a look at, from a size standpoint, like what are they doing? Right.
Right. That's true.
Because that's been the biggest thing that's been hampering Auburn when you look at their ability to attack, has been big guards, right? Or guys who could just shoot the laces off of it.
They have 2 guys at 6'10". I don't know their starters or whatnot. Blake Jones and Peter Oduro. No, I'm sorry. Janika Ojaiko. Those are your 2 guys at 6'10". So kind of a small team for the most part.
Okay.
They got a little bit of. They got some.
I mean, the 6'2" guards.
They got some tall. Guard, they got some tall guards though.
6'7", 6'5".
They got some tall guards.
Like,
see, that's what we miss of Flanny, man.
Yeah, 6'9" forward, 6'6". I mean, they're a big team, man. So it's gonna be interesting to see whether or not we can match speed versus their height and try to push the tempo on them. I still expect us to be a good defensive team because we have the shot blockers and the way that we play team defense. I was impressed how they were playing team defense against Israel, until they got to the national team, which was like a well-oiled machine out there. But hopefully it will be more of us playing against the Israel select team than it is Israel national team with this team. But again, that's the danger that you have with a team that's got this much experience, is that they may be just really good with ball movement and able to get us playing on our heels defensively. So looking forward to seeing that. Back here to the comment section, Spencer Benson says, gonna see Lior. So Lior Berman should be out there and ready to play a little bit tonight. He's going to be a guy that, we talk about outside shooting, that he is one of the better shooters on the team. If he's going to get quality minutes, he's got to come in there and shoot the laces off the basketball, man. Like, he can't come in there being tentative. If you're open, Lior, knock it down, bro. Because we're going to need that. We're going to need someone to step out there and stretch the floor a little bit.
Agreed.
Pocket Watch jumps in. Appreciate the super chat there, Pocket Watch. Love the basketball live streams and content. Listen, man, we're here. We're here during basketball season. We're going to try to do this as often. Basketball is a little more difficult, right? Because it happens so often. But we will definitely try to get you guys into the basketball season a lot more this year than we have in previous years. It's going to be kind of our first foray into kind of full-time basketball content creation. So you'll see much more basketball content this season than you've seen the previous couple of years with the War Report.
Yeah.
Gracie Skywalker jumps in very confidently and says, "Not worried, we will blow them out." Hey, listen, I like it.
So there's definitely something to this team and how we play at home. It's just different. It's much different. And the credit to a Bruce team is we're not waiting on one guy to be a lockdown defender while everybody else lazes around. And, well, if we got our big in there, he'll block shots. But if he's not in there, we're going to be terrible. Like, listen, Bruce Pearl teams play defense, total team defense. And even if you're not a great defender, which Leo Berman is not a great defender, which is why we suspected he didn't get on the floor more last season when we were struggling with outside shooting. Everybody is going to bring the effort, and I'm not worried about rotations. I'm not worried about defensive discipline. I think that's the least we have to worry about. Now, there may be some ability that a defender is lacking. I mean, would I rather have Flanny as an on-ball defender over Leo Berman? Of course I would, but I'm not worried about overall effort when it comes to defense. I'm worried about the on-ball defense that Flanny can have as a big guard or a regular size forward. Outside shooting is still an issue. We heard that Flanagan was doing better, but he's not even playing tonight, or he might not play tonight. And again, I'm not expecting him to be 100% if he does play. We're hearing more about KD's making better decisions. There was one clip I saw because I didn't get a chance to go to the game and it wasn't televised, the UAH game last week. And KD was driving and he dished behind him on a bounce pass. I forgot who it was that finished. Was it Stretch? I can't remember, but I saw the clip. I was like, wait, every game last year, we were like, when is KD going to notice that there are available options to him once he gets to the goal? It's like he went to the goal with a one-track mind. It was like, I am about to dunk or finish, and it doesn't matter if it's not a good idea. I am going to do it. But now he's looking for options. He's looking for the pass if it's available. And that means that's a much different KD. That's a better proposition. He can make easy shots for other guys if he's willing to do that. And I'm not worried that we'll lose, but I'm worried it could be dicey for a little while. I think it could be dicey for a little while.
Yeah, again, my biggest
George Mason took us to task in the first half last year, right?
Yeah. And again, something I mentioned before you jumped on B is that I'm concerned about foul trouble.
That's true.
With the guys that we have. Like usually that's what makes games tight when you don't have your guy in there because he's in foul trouble. And that's Dylan Cardwell, who defends the interior really well. Those are guys who I'm concerned about, our bigs.
Yeah. That is the big thing for me, is whether or not we'll be able to continue, specifically if we are forcing bad shots, to continue to have bigs in there that can rebound. Right. Like that was an issue you saw a couple of times last year. Specifically, I'm thinking about the Tennessee game where we were forcing them into bad shots and they were missing a lot, but we couldn't secure the glass. And that's the reason we lost. Same thing with the Florida game last year. That our inability to rebound was our biggest thing. Now, a lot of that was because we had some tenacious shot blocking going on. So they were going for every block shot they could. But still, late in the shot clock, forcing bad shots and not securing boards was an issue for this team last year. Hopefully, we're a little bit better about that this year. We were good on the glass against UAH. We were good in all three games actually against Israel. But we did have our full complement of post players in that game. Janai Broom is a big factor in being able to secure the glass. He's a great he's just a good basketball player overall. He has good post presence and he understands how to be there to block shots and to rebound. Traore is a big body, so he's going to be there tonight. But Jalen's also a really good. That's one thing he said he focused on this offseason, was being there on the glass for this team. So I was looking forward to seeing Jalen Williams play a bigger role this game. But hopefully he'll be healthy enough when we get around to the next one to be full capacity. All right, we're going to go about another 15 minutes here with you guys, talking a little bit of Auburn and George Mason. There aren't a lot of things to talk about in this game in particular, just because we haven't seen this team outside of the Israel expedition games and those of you who were able to see the UAH game. But just looking statistically at those other games, we're still not very good from three right now. We didn't have Leo Berman in there, and though Trey Donaldson is not really a proficient three-point shooter, he didn't play a lot of minutes against Israel. He played a lot more in the UAH exhibition. I think I said that wrong the first time too. Exhibition game. just calling cars and all kind of stuff that ain't the real words I'm looking
Expedition.
for. Yeah, the expedition, the exposition, the existential crisis, something happening out here with an ex-girlfriend, somebody is messing around. But hopefully he is able to. I liked what I heard Coach Pearl say about Trey and how mature he is and his tough mentality, being a basketball player and a football player. He talked about the football background giving him a toughness that you don't see with a lot of young guards. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he is going to be able to contribute to this game just in his toughness. Any thoughts about young Trey Donaldson? I know you guys probably haven't seen him play a lot.
Haven't seen a lot of them. We saw maybe the first game or so in Israel. We definitely did see much of him as they went further into those exhibition games. But I'm looking to see what he can do. I haven't seen enough to really. I think the only freshman that we saw a lot of was Chance, which was really disappointing to see when he got injured. But with Trey, he came in with much. They spoke well about him, so I'm curious to see what the coaches have seen in him. I think we'll see some of that tonight.
Yeah. All right, let's jump back in here. Got a few more comments coming in. Gracie Skywalker says Green at the 1, Jasper at the 2, Moore at the 3, Johan at the 4, and Cardwell at the 5. It's my starting lineup. I think that's a pretty likely starting lineup based upon what we've seen. I don't know Jasper or Green at the 2. I think I could see. Or Johnson.
Right.
They might start KD, but I like the fact I would like to see KD come off the bench just because he is such a dynamic scoring threat.
Right.
So I would like to see the good defensive guard out there with the good kind of floor general of Green to start the game off. And then you have your defensive energy guy and Moore. Jasper can also shoot the spot up 3. And you've got your 2 big presence on the inside. So I like that as a starting lineup. But any thoughts on Gracie's thoughts on starting lineup there?
I want to see more Jasper shooting beyond the arc. It seems like he was very timid at times. Like there was times when he got a groove going, he was pretty lethal. And then there were other times he didn't even attempt to shoot. Right. So I'm looking to see them get him more involved in the offense, and hopefully with us having Janai Broom in the season, we can kind of work on that because his presence in the interior will create opportunities for him to dump off to someone beyond the arc when they're collapsing on him. So I like this. I like this lineup, particularly with KD because he's a high energy guy. And when your starters go out, you want someone who can come in and keep that intensity going, who can score, who can do all the things that KD does. So I'm not mad at that rotation at all.
Yeah. I think there's something to having the guy with the most energy that's kind of just a get up and go guy coming off the bench to anchor the second unit. And that's like we saw that, what is it, the Lakers, right? They're trying to make Russell Westbrook start in the starting lineup because he's always been a starter. He's been an MVP. It's like, look, man, but you don't work well when we're on the floor and we need room. So why don't you come on the floor when we're not there? Because now you can have all the room you want. Like you don't have to worry about who you're deferring to. And if KD's passing to better shooters to force his way to the basket, well, now you're the best option on the floor. Now go crazy. And it's not hurting the efficiency of the overall team nearly as much if you are just trying to do your thing and get yourself going. So I saw that we made that change at least one time between the offseason and the exhibition games. I wonder now with the injuries or the sicknesses, will that continue? Because he may not have a choice. It may affect his lineups to the point where you want a Zep Jasper in the second unit to be a ball handler. Because I'm sure Flanny was going to do some ball handling, but now Wendell can't go the whole time. So you have both your ball handlers on the court to start.
Yeah, and that's why the freshman is going to be important. Trey Donaldson is going to need to be able to come in and be another ball handler. But you know what, the thing I love about what Coach Pearl does is he talks about this kind of extensively, is the fact that he has his starters and his finishers, right? Like he's not scared to say, I need somebody who's going to start the game a certain way, but I want to finish the game in this particular way. And they may be 2 completely different lineups. Now, when you talk about that second unit energy, Man, just imagine, like, so last year, Dylan Cardwell brought a lot of that to this team, right? He was an energy guy coming in the second unit, a stabilizing force when Walker Kessler would get into foul trouble to be able to continue to be the backstop for that defensive unit. Him being in the starting lineup now, you were hoping again to have a situation where maybe Traore or Broom were going to be that second unit guy, but now it's going to have to be tonight's stretch is going to have to be your second wave of shot blocker, paint guy, right? Because you just don't have enough big bodies. But I think it's going to be interesting to see when Flanagan is healthy, Chris Moore is still there, and you've got Westry back in, what the lineup is going to look like, because you really have 7 or 8 guys that could all be starters at that point in time, right? Like Green, Jasper, Moore, Traore, Cardwell, Broom, Westry, Johnson, Williams, right? Like you've got guys who could all be starters on your team, and then it's just about finding the minutes. And that's kind of a luxury to have, to say the toughest job you have as a coach is, if people aren't in foul trouble, finding the right combination of guys and making sure everybody gets enough minutes that they can be refreshed and effective. Hopefully we're going to see that coming trotting out onto a court soon. Jumping back in here to the comments, Brody McGritty says, do you think this game could get us a couple of ranks higher, or do you think the change of rankings will happen after a couple of games? I doubt George Mason is a big enough name to change anything effectively in the rankings for us with a W, unless some other team ranked ahead of us falls early in their early matchups. So unlikely that this George Mason team does anything for our overall rankings. So we don't really control our fate in terms of that. We just need to win ball games. So a couple of games for sure. Nothing in our early matchups, though, probably does much to move the needle, unless, again, someone in front of us falls.
Right.
Tony Baker jumps back in here and says, really excited about Cardwell turning the corner this year. I hate all the guys are going to be missing, but it's not a bad thing to get those young guys experience early in the season. Definitely not a bad thing. Definitely sucks if you take an L because of it, though, right? Like, as you're learning, it's better to lose early, if you're going to lose games. But I don't want to lose games because we weren't at full strength. I'd rather lose games because we had a young team that was making mistakes early and they were healthy and rolling at the right point in time. But win or lose, you will get a lot of experience in this game, in a real basketball game that has real consequences towards your season. So the younger guys are going to have to come in here, play some quality minutes, some significant minutes, and make sure that their presence is felt in this game.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
Jackson Dodd, another chat from him, says, who do y'all expect, to be the breakout player this season?
I like Westry. I've heard too much good, seen too much good with Westry to think he's not going to be starting by conference play. I think Westry is starting by conference play, and he's significantly contributing and helping our outside shooting by the time conference play rolls around.
Yeah, Chance Westry for me too, because I think last year that was an area on this team where we really needed to see some production on the offensive side of the ball. We've had guys who would play well in spurts. Again, we mentioned Cambridge looked great on the highlight reel, but when it came time to get buckets in half court sets, we struggled from that position. And so this is where Chance Westry comes into play, and he showed flashes during Israel. And so I'm excited about what this kid can do. I know we were really disappointed we couldn't get the kid who decided to go to Tennessee, because he was another wing guy. But Westry coming in has been a pleasant surprise, and I'm curious to see if he can take that position and really do something special.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna defer to the guys in the paint. I'm super high on Janai Broom. Listen, I've seen him play already, so it's a little bit of a cheat, right? It's not that I don't. I know what he can do. As far as his ability to score in the post, his ability to defend, and just being kind of a heady basketball player. I think he's going to have a phenomenal season if he can remain healthy. And then the other young guy, Traore, really raw, but I like everything about what his game provides. He can step out and shoot the basketball, from deep. That doesn't necessarily have to be a 3, but he can face up and shoot the medium range stuff. And he has the leaping ability that allows him to be elite in just about every facet of the game. That's rebounding, shot blocking, just intimidation in general. and he's quick, right? Like he's still got to learn a lot of things. I think there's some things that he can definitely learn and get better on. But I'm looking forward to those two guys being two names that, as the season progresses, Auburn fans will say, "Wow, those guys are really studs," and even making their way into some All SEC type of stuff.
For sure.
Stark Bryce jumps in and asks, how has Moore improved a ton, or is there just nobody else available? I'll let somebody else start in on that.
I mean, who knows? That's the first thing I think. Who really knows? He's fighting for minutes, honestly. Chris Moore's fighting for minutes with Flanagan, and probably, depending on the set, with Jalen Williams and even Traore. Bruce wants to put the best starting five on the floor. My guess is that Traore will probably start even while we are depleted, and probably once we're not, because his skill set is so good. Like, he's a scorer. Traore is a scorer primarily, and my guess is that they're going to work with him on defense as the season goes on. But my guess is with Moore, I don't think he is a great contributor offensively.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be a cleanup guy. He's going to be a hustle guy. He's going to be a great defensive player. And whether or not he's improved, I would ask, improved at what? And that's the question. Like, can you go down there and rebound and get us some easy buckets, some dirty buckets, pass out of it, and make sure that we can get extra possessions for Wendell and Traore and those guys to get some buckets for us? Sure. But whoever has the most complete skill set, it would be my guess. If Traore can score and he can, extend his range some, then my guess is he's going to be out there, and Flanny's going to be at that 3, and that's going to leave Chris Moore to kind of just get in where he can fit in.
Yeah, I mean, and then when you get Jay Will back, like,
right.
And that's mostly in my mind to B's point about the offense, right? Like, because he is absolutely a tenacious defender, a hustle player that's going to get you loose ball, and you need that, right? Like, I think people get enamored with things that fill stat sheets, right? Chris Moore is going to do a lot for your basketball team that may not touch a stat sheet, as far as just his intensity on the defense. Right, he's intense on the defensive end. He might not even grab the rebound, but he's going to be there boxing somebody out for someone else to go get the rebound, or he's going to bother a team's wing player enough to force them into some sort of turnover that someone else benefits from. Chris Moore is the kind of guy that does the things necessary to help basketball teams get W's that, again, might not show up in the box score.
Right. Agreed.
Little special treat for you guys jumping in here before we get out of here. Our guy, Auburn Memes. What's up, man?
We back. We got the hat. Ready for some basketball here in 62 minutes.
Yeah.
At the expedition last week, had a lot of fun there.
Yeah.
So
I need to get a sponsorship or something from them. So I mention it so much on forward. What's up? Holla at your boy. But
got my fix in for the game. So
Memes, you were at the UAH game. Tell us a little bit about your perspective on that whole situation.
Yeah. So I know it's been talked about a lot. I'm just going to give my perspective from the start. And this is from somebody who is a noted, I'm not going to say hater, a noted heavy critiquer.
Okay.
Flanagan's back.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And this is somebody who did not have a lot of, who wasn't always the kindest to what I'd seen from him last year. And somebody who, not to be somebody that if you'd told me maybe 8-9 months ago that, hey, he's going to walk this next season, I probably wouldn't have been sad about it.
Right.
But man, he was looking good, and not just good from like just the eye test, but just the little intangible things like the footwork, the body control, just where his eyes were, his awareness, both sides of the ball, just the little things that the coaches are going to see. You're like, man, I hadn't seen that type of, I know because everyone said, oh, he wasn't 100% coming back from that injury, but whatever they did in the offseason, and even against Israel, I mean, there were some flashes at Israel, but there were also some of those, him making sloppy passes, some of the travels, little things like that he was notorious for doing last season. Man, I didn't see any of that against this UAH game. That was my biggest takeaway. Is like, man, if we can continue growing to be on pace to that trajectory we thought he was going to have after his sophomore year, whoa, buddy. That was my biggest takeaway of that game, was just like he he really seemed to be back at it. And I think that's, in all honesty, if we could pick one narrative to have out of that, that would be it. So that was my most exciting thing to see with my own two eyes from that game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if Flanagan is truly going to be that off guard that we need, being just another guy who can attack the rim and be a high flyer and be defensively sound, Auburn's going to be a scary basketball team. We still don't have the outside shooting, I think, but just having that additional ball handler slasher defensive presence that can handle the big guards,
right,
is a big thing for you, just to be able to lock up the other team and threaten that other team. Like, it's a big thing. Whether he can shoot it effectively or not, it's just it provides a different element for your basketball team.
Yeah.
Lawrence, I believe Lawrence is asking what channel is the game being played on. That is SEC Network. That's what I'm saying.
I thought it was ESPN2. Let me.
Sure. I say ESPN Plus on the.
Yeah, that's the only one.
So
I
it
saw
might
for
just be
sure.
the apps.
Oh, that's gonna get people mad.
ESPN Plus.
SEC Network Plus. Nope. Wait a minute.
I'm seeing ESPN Plus and the SEC Network.
Yeah.
So I got the scoop on the Expedition game because I know there were a lot of people who were like, "Why was that not on TV?" So apparently, word is, and this is going to be kind of funny with our guy Bruce. Bruce is really like, he was very adamant. I don't want that game on TV. I don't want to give him anything to look at.
Yeah,
now it's
he
funny,
felt like the Israel game. He's like he said it in his presser. He's like, they've already got 3 games of tape on us, and we don't have anything on them. So he didn't want to give them an extra game of film to be able to look at because they have made some adjustments since Israel.
Yeah, no, it looked. I'll say it looked a little different. You know, they did tweak that's not going to be the normal starting lineup with kind of how they had the guys in there, but it definitely looked like there was a lot of differences from Israel to this game as well.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
Good to see.
In a good way.
Yeah. Some random LSU guy in here saying, surprised that y'all have transitioned to basketball already. These initial games are effectively scrimmages, so must be rough year on the gridiron, I guess. That is just ignorance of who we are, because we cover Auburn sports in total. And we're going to be heavy into basketball this season. You know, we covered the LSU game, and that was essentially a scrimmage. So we're covering this game as well for basketball.
That's right. And Auburn, and here's the thing about it: Auburn was never out of basketball. We're basketball 365.
Yeah. Again, we're an Auburn sports channel, so it's Auburn sport that we like, and
we can do both, man. We can do both.
Possible. Just because your team is in the death sentence in basketball right now doesn't mean everybody is.
Ike is out
but you
here
know
shooting.
what? It's fair. You know what? The fan base is feeling good after beating Bama this weekend. They want to come poke some fun. That's fair. Good troll. Just make sure you come back when football season's over. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you coming to check us out, man. You know, coming to see a real basketball team play tonight. It's going to be probably fun for you guys. All right, let's see if there's anything else that's interesting on here from some folks. I don't see a lot of chats coming in. Any other thoughts from you, Memes, about this game? I don't know if you know anything about George Mason. So,
well, I think he wrote, was it the Bill of Rights? Maybe he did something. he did something like that I would have learned about in probably like middle school history.
I actually don't even know who George Mason is. I probably should, as somebody.
Yeah, he probably is one of those guys that like just missed the cuts of being on like some currency.
Yeah.
So anyway, as far as the team, no, I haven't really looked into that too much. Now, I will say that I found it odd that the spread on this game was only 12.5 points. Now, it may just be more to the fact that Auburn's going to be rotating some folks out. I don't know if they're looking at that Janai Broom ankle thing, and of course, Westry still being out. So maybe it's just going to be Auburn kind of keeps it within 10 points and lets a lot of people play. I could definitely see that. That's why I didn't really take that bet. Now, I will say statistically, if I got just a second to touch on this here, I wanted to kind of jump on this and stuck in traffic, so I wasn't able to get on here a little bit sooner. But something that I'm going to need to see to start sleeping better at night is like we need to get these 3-point shootings up. This percentage, like starting with a 3 and not starting with a 2. So that was one thing I didn't like about that game that I saw.
Yeah, this is actually pivots right nicely into start by saying, who do y'all think can be the best 3-point shooter on this team? Any thoughts? I'll let you start, Meme, since you were on that conversation, but go ahead.
Oh man, I mean, we know who it needs to be. So, am I all right? So let me vary here. Are we talking just pure percentage? Or are we talking who gets the most the most scored 3-point shots?
Let's start with best percentage shooter, and then we'll go into that second question. We'll take that in two separate.
Best
pieces.
percentage shooter. I'm going to feel pretty confident when I say Zep Jasper.
Okay, I can see that being the case for sure. He's probably the best pure shooter on the team. So but he won't take a lot. So to your point,
he's going to be very efficient. So that's why I didn't want to say that, because that's kind of going to be a cop out there. I think who's going to have the most totality scored from the 3-point line is most definitely going to be Wendell. I think him and KD are going to kind of go after it. I would not be shocked if KD can't. If he keeps Tommy hawking these things up, which he kind of did in Israel, he did it in the last season, he kind of did it this expedition game, they're going to have to be like, Katie, we've got to calm down. You got to be more efficient with your shot selection. I think once Wendell, per the name Icy Wind, starts cooling off and gets the rhythm there, I think he's going to have the most threes. I don't know how much we're going to see out of Broom or Johan as far as coming from the 3 game. I think they're really going to let that be up to Wendell, but you might see, I don't know, if Westry kind of comes in his groove. Now he's better at driving in the basket than what we've seen, but I'm still going to say Zep most efficient. Wendell's going to have the actual most totality of like points made from 3. Locked in final answer.
Okay. Any of you have any differing opinions about the 3-point shooting from this team?
I think that's a fair evaluation, because I remember in before the season started, Zep said that he was working on finding his shot more often. Every time he shot, he shot at a better clip than everybody else. He was just mostly focused on getting the ball downfield and defending. And I wonder if finding the shot for him and setting him up to get that shot changes how well he can shoot it. Or did he shoot it so well because it was like, oh, well, I guess I'll take this. Yeah, that's always interesting to see. Guys can do things within the framework of the offense, because Jabari was going to score and Wendell was going to score, and Zep could just kind of get what was left, what was available, and he was really good at it. But if we're pushing for Zep to get those shots, does he shoot it at the same good clip? I don't know, but because he was able to do it last year, I'm going to say, yeah, I like him to be the best percentage 3-point shooter. I'm really high on Westry. I really like the way his shot looked. And I'm willing to see if Trey Orr has that kind of range. I know he's a better scorer. I wonder if he's a shooter, though.
You got a comment in here that brought up Jalen Williams. That's a good
dark horse. That is actually the guy I was going to say, because I think Jalen Williams is actually going to be our most proficient 3-point shooter just all around. I still think Zep Jasper probably shoots a better percentage overall, but I think he's going to be the best combination of hitting a high percentage and shooting a high volume.
And he's got a pretty shot too. When he gets it, I mean, that thing is beautiful. I mean, it looks just textbook. Just love it. That's good. I like that.
I'm a fan of Jalen from behind the arc. I think that he's going to be a guy that, because of his size, he's going to have more room, because he's usually going to be playing guys, unless he's playing a stretch 4. And even with those guys, sometimes they don't tend to defend as well out on the perimeter or get out on 3-point shooters as well. Because he's going to be playing a 3 stretch 4 for us, I think he's going to have the best opportunities and best looks from 3. And he shoots it at a pretty good clip. So I'm going to go with Jalen Williams as my guy from 3 this year. This is a very good question here. Riley says maybe he's related to Trey Mason, Wardam Eagle in Germany, talking about George Mason. I don't know if he's related to Trey Mason. I'm going to go. I could go with the very politically incorrect answer right here and say he probably owned the plantation where his folks was at. But I said it already, so I just got to leave it out there. But this is actually a really good question for you, Memes. Memes, what's it like to be an absolute beast? I don't have any familiarity with being a beast, so I definitely have to defer to you on that.
First of all, I'm speechless. Thank you so much. Most of the time I get comments that are really mean, so it's nice to get a refreshing there. We're going to lean into it. It feels great. You wake up every day just with a different aura and glow, and then you see my ugly mug here on the YouTube channel, and you're like, I don't know about it. So it's good. It's all about
It's a blessing to wake up with an aura memes. Let's just start with that first and foremost.
That's right. It's about what's in the heart, and yes, it's a great time, and thank you for that. It's better than like I said, it's better than what my mentions look like. And like I said, come time basketball season, the Kentucky fans are they kind of hibernate during football season. I'm gonna tell you something. They're gonna be calling me some words that start with a B, and it's not gonna be beast.
Yeah, I don't actually know which fan base has more aggressive. I was going to say worse, but more aggressive basketball fans. Kentucky or Arkansas, because they both have some very aggressive online fan bases. Kentucky whines a lot more. Arkansas, for some reason, is more arrogant though. Like I don't. Which again, Arkansas has had a good program historically over the years, so I'm not trying to take a crap on their program. But
recency bias, Arkansas's done way more than Kentucky has. I mean, if we look back at the last 5 years, like
I agree.
Or even keep going further back than that. I mean, there's probably a reason.
Yeah. That's true. A little reprieve from us that Danielle got her sweatshirt today, so we're good with her now.
The debt's been paid.
Yeah, thank you very much for allowing us to be out of your poor graces and into your good graces. So we appreciate that. Zachary Bowman jumps in and says, just joined the stream. Have we made our picks on Prize Picks yet? Well, actually, since you asked so nicely, we definitely have made our picks for today. I can bring those back up, though, just in case you want to see them. If you guys don't know, we are doing Prize Picks pregame stuff. So head over to prizepicks.com to get your stuff in if you want to be able to see this. But these are the picks that I made earlier today. So I took Jacob Toppin from UK. Just so you know, you have to have at least one player from two separate teams on any card that you put in on Prize Picks. Because there weren't any props available for George Mason for our game, I took Jacob Toppin in the Kentucky game, which has started already. So you can't actually get that one on your card. You could possibly get someone else that has not started. And again, for your board, you can mix sports. So it doesn't always have to be college basketball. You can get whatever. But what I did take from the Auburn game is Johan Traore. Knowing what the injury report looks like, I'm assuming he's going to get this points, rebounds, and assists up over 15.5. And then KD Johnson, I'm assuming will get at least 3 rebounds there. But there were some other props available out there for Auburn. So make sure that you head over to prizepicks.com. Use code RAPPORT if it's your first time. You get 100% price match up to your first $100 when you use code RAPPORT. So hopefully you guys will go out there and take advantage of that. Game starts here in just about 47 minutes. Any final words for anybody, for the fans out here? Anybody want to get any final words in on this game?
I'm trying to get my Prize Picks in.
It's important to get that in before the game starts. You have to get those picks in. I mean, again, there's a Monday night football game tonight. If you guys want to do some NFL stuff, there's some things that are available. So we'll end on something that's off topic that John Brannon jumped in here with earlier. Memes, this one is not for you because you are not part of the married crew. But off topic question for the War Report. When y'all decided to do the war report, were your wives skeptical at first, or were they cool about it from the beginning? Does anybody want to talk about the wife? And we already saw one wife in the live chat tonight. That was Danielle talking about being good with us. But anybody want to tackle this question?
You know what? I had I had a toddler. I think I had an infant when we started. So time was already scarce. And that's the thing, man. Kids are an adventure. If it's your first kid, it's an extra adventure. And we started the War Report when I was really working too many hours and my kid wasn't even one. And she was not happy about it. She was like, all right, I guess. She had, if your wives ever, I guess I go ahead and do your little thing. I'm like, my little thing. Come on. This is a venture. We are taking this on. We are serious. Go ahead. No, do your little podcast. That's what she said. I said, I said, you know what? One day we're gonna make some money. And then I don't want to hear you calling it a little podcast no more. And then the tables have turned. She was like, hey, I really like what y'all did on the show. And now, that was really cool. Like, oh no, now it's fun. Now it's cool, huh? Yeah. But yeah, just the amount of time it takes, man.
It dropped a little. Should drop a little.
Your little friend, your little podcast. Anytime it's your little game when I want to play PlayStation, man. But it's always fun now to have it turn around. And yes, I'm talking about you, woman. It's always fun to have it turn around and to see her get on board. Like once we started up in the production value, once we started expanding the content offerings, like she really, not just to say, oh, okay, it looks better now, I guess I'm for it. Like she listens and she's like, hey, is that the player that you said?
Does tune in a lot to, like, when I'm down there in Auburn, she tells me about stuff she heard us say on podcasts and all. So Danielle is actually a fan of the War Report, and we appreciate the support that she gives us.
She's a convert. She's a big convert. So I got the support now. But yeah, it was a little dicey at first, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, wifey was cool about it with me, because I was at the time I was a dink. That's dual income, no kids. So as long as I was here at the house, she was just like, "Oh, cool, all right." I seen a little bit, so she was cool with it. It just seems like a hobby, something I was doing with my homeboys. But then she would look and be like, "Y'all really had like 300 people on," and so then it became like, "Oh, this is a real thing y'all are doing," and so. As things went on, she's just been really supportive and happy for me that doing something that I'm excited about with people that she appreciates. So it's been cool. It wasn't a lot of convincing because I already do a lot of stuff creatively already anyway. So she's kind of used to that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot as much convincing, but I think to see her now. People in my family on her side of the family will watch, and so it's been cool to see that translate as the war has grown. So,
yeah, I ain't had no problems because I'm the man around here. And what I say goes. I lay down the law, and if I say I'm finna be upstairs on the camera, I'm gonna be upstairs on the camera doing my little show, and you can call it whatever you want to. You see how much my head moving? You can tell I'm lying.
Are you blinking a lot?
Yeah. Nah, it was cool. Like she never was really tripping about it. It was more so like she was concerned because she knows that I'm a workaholic, and so like I was already working a bunch of hours at work. And then I was putting in a bunch of hours on the show. So she was like, are you going to ever not be working? Right. And so it's just one of those things where it's a passion of mine and I want to see it grow. And now I'm doing it as my primary source of income. So I have to work at it a lot. But I'm thankful to have a wife who has always been supportive of all of the crazy things because I will come up with an idea in a heartbeat and be like, hey, man, it'd be real cool if we could like sell like replacement socks. You know how you always lose like one of your socks? Like we could just sell one sock at a time.
Very good idea. That's a really good idea.
We could just sell one sock. And then so if you lose one, you're going to we got your mate. We could call it sock mate. I come up with weird stuff like that all the time. So
sock it to you. I like sock it to you, actually. We'll talk afterwards. Talk afterwards.
I mean, we just put it out there to the whole world now. Somebody else gonna be out there selling.
Race a trademark.
But yeah, so it's been cool, man. It's been real cool to see just the growth of the channel and you guys being dope, man. Some of y'all been riding with us for years, like literally for years, man, and we appreciate all of y'all. Davis here is saying, "What's up, B Will?" I don't know.
What's up? Davis, big tall guy. He's about 6'8". He probably didn't want me just putting it out there. He was one of my the students that I supervised when I was working up at the student center on campus. What's up, my dude? Hope everything's going good with work in real life. What is up?
All right. Well, we're about to get out of here. We appreciate everybody once again for taking some time to come in here with us. If you have not already, make sure you share the video. Somebody can still watch it before the game starts. Maybe they want to do a little prize pick, something, and see our insight about the game, see your comments about the game. So go ahead and share that on all social media at The War Report if you want us to see that, and we'll share your share. Hashtag get your weight up so they know that you are rocking with The War Report. Like this video right now, like while you're watching right now, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Help us with that engagement. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. There's a lot of people who aren't commenting. If you're not commenting, maybe it's because you're not subscribed, right? So subscribe to the channel because comment section is almost always locked down to people who are subscribed. If you want to follow us on social media, you saw our @ handles up there before, but the group or the business is at the War Report on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to follow on TikTok, it's TW Report. That's it. We're about to get out of here. Once again, we thank our sponsors of the War Report, as always, the lovely Prize Picks, for continuing to sponsor what we got going on at the War Report. Go ahead and get your Prize Picks cards in right now. We may be back at you guys with a post game. I don't know. It's going to be kind of late, but we'll see about it. If nothing else, we might just hop in on a Twitter space with our guy Auburn Memes, because he's always going to keep you guys
Always
locked
doing
in
it.
with what's going on with the basketball team. Until the next time, and as always, War Eagle, and we are out of here. Holla at y'all later.
Peace.
Peace.